Welcome to the deep dive. So you've sent in some really interesting sources today. We've got blog posts, a white paper, all from UltraWeb marketing.
Yeah, they're a digital marketing and web design agency. Looks like we're focusing on that big decision, choosing the right web design company.
Exactly. It seems like a lot of you are navigating this, and it's tricky. So our mission really is to pull out the key takeaways from what UltraWeb marketing is saying, help you avoid some common pitfalls.
Absolutely. The big question we're digging into is, what are the critical things, the non-negotiables you need to look for in a web design partner
Right.
to make sure, your online presence actually works for you?
Right. It's got to be more than just looking good.
So much more.
And maybe a key thought to keep in mind right from the start. Don't just focus on the aesthetics, the surface level stuff.
Good point. Because the company you choose,
Yeah.
it's going to have this long-term strategic impact on your business.
Definitely. You need that perspective now before you choose. Okay, let's unpack this. One of the first big warnings, it jumps right out from their 8 tips article, is about choosing based on price alone.
Yeah, they're pretty blunt. You get what you pay for. It's simple but true, isn't it? And they mentioned that scenario, which is sadly common,
Which one?
where designers take some money up front and then just vanish, project abandoned.
Right. Yeah. And the article suggests why this happens. Often it's inexperience.
Either they lowballed the quote because they didn't grasp the scope.
Or they get partway through and realize, uh-oh, I don't actually have the skills for this.
Exactly, which leaves the client in a really tough spot.
It's so tempting, isn't it, to just grab that cheapest quote. But like they say, those low prices often hide costs down the road.
Oh, definitely. Think about having to redo the site in a year because the SEO is junk.
Or, losing customers because it's impossible to use on a phone. That initial saving, it just evaporates. Might even cost you more.
Yeah. And that brings us neatly to another really important point.
Yeah.
The difference between just design and comprehensive web development.
What do they mean by that exactly?
Well, the 8 Tips article makes this crucial point.
Oh.
Not every web designer knows SEO, search engine optimization.
Okay.
And you can think of SEO as the fundamental plumbing of your site. A beautiful house is useless if nobody can find the front door, right?
Yeah, good analogy. And that's where it gets interesting for someone choosing a company. Because sure, you want it to look good,
Of course. Visual appeal matters.
but it's just one piece. The article says basic SEO is fundamental, like table stakes for even having a chance to rank in search results.
Without that groundwork, yeah, the odds of potential customers actually finding your shiny new website, they plummet.
But hang on, couldn't a business just sort of add the SEO later after the site's built? What's the real problem with not doing it from the start?
That's a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, yes, you can try to bolt it on later. But it's often way less effective and probably more expensive in the long run. See, integrating SEO from the beginning means the site's structure, the content, all the technical bits, they're all built with search engines in mind.
Yeah.
Trying to retrofit that stuff, it's messy.
Like rewiring a house after the walls are up.
Exactly. It's inefficient. You might miss key things. Plus, Google looks at stuff like site speed, mobile friendliness, things that are baked in during development. Delaying SEO means you're starting weaker.
Gotcha.
And another thing, some designers might say they know SEO. They might grasp the basics, but they might not actually be equipped or maybe even willing to put in the real time and effort to implement the techniques properly while building the site. It's not just ticking a box. It's about doing it right.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So moving on, another thing they flag as totally essential: responsive and mobile-friendly design.
Yeah, this isn't just a nice to have anymore. It's basic, a must.
The stats back it up, don't they?
They do. The 8 Tips article mentions that over half, more than 50% of website views are now on phones or tablets.
Wow. That's huge.
It really is. So when we talk responsive design, it's not just about shrinking the desktop site. No, it's about the website intelligently rearranging itself. The text, images, menus, everything adapts to fit perfectly, whether it's a tiny phone or a huge monitor.
And it's not just about user experience, although that's obviously huge. The article points out Google actually penalizes sites that aren't mobile-friendly.
Yep. So if your site doesn't adapt, you're frustrating potentially half your audience, and you're hurting your search ranking.
It's a real double whammy.
It absolutely is. And it really hammers home that point about not wasting time and money on a design that isn't, built to current standards.
Launching with a site that isn't mobile-friendly is like building in obsolescence from day one.
Precisely. A very costly mistake.
Okay, what about content? The sources suggest this is often well overlooked.
Yeah, it's interesting. Developers focus, understandably, on the look, the function, the tech side.
Right.
But the actual words on the page, sometimes treated as an afterthought.
Why do you think that happens?
Well, creating really good, unique content that's relevant to a specific industry, that's a big job. It might not be the core skill of a developer focused on code and design. Maybe they don't have writers in-house, or, the cost wasn't properly factored in.
But the 8 tips piece stresses that a good web design company, they will have experienced content writers.
Exactly. Professionals who actually dig in, understand your business, your audience, your products.
They do the research needed to create content that, yeah, helps with SEO, but also genuinely connects with potential customers.
Right. Now, what if you already have a website? One that's maybe built up some SEO value.
Ah, yeah, the redesign scenario. There's a big warning in the 8 tips about protecting that value.
Yes, they really flag the danger of just making big changes without a proper strategy.
Like changing your domain name or messing with all your page URLs.
If you do that without careful planning, you're basically telling Google, hey, I'm a brand new site. You can lose all the ground you've gained.
It's like moving house and not telling the post office your new address. Nobody can find you.
Great analogy. And technically, you risk losing all those valuable backlinks, the links from other sites pointing to yours.
Which Google sees as votes of confidence, right?
Exactly. Plus, Google might start seeing your old indexed pages as just broken links, which hurt your overall ranking.
Ouch. So it's super crucial that any company you're looking at really understands migration techniques. If you're changing domains or URLs, they need a plan.
Definitely not something to wing it on.
Okay, the 8 tips article also talks about the power of having a blog or an article section. Seems simple, but they say it can have a big impact.
It can, yeah. They explain how regularly adding fresh, relevant info about your industry via a blog. It's one of the best ways to help a news site start ranking better.
How does that work specifically? What are the benefits?
Well, one key thing is Google loves fresh content. It actively indexes those new blog pages.
Ah, okay.
So when people search for topics related to what you do, there's a better chance they'll find your blog post, which then leads them to your main site.
And the article mentions these people, the ones finding you through the blog, are often really good leads.
Often, yeah. They're already interested in the topic. They can convert pretty well into actual customers. And this ties back to those content writers we mentioned. They're key for creating that effective blog content.
Makes sense. And it's not just your own site, is it? The article has that section, don't be antisocial, about social media.
Right. This points to, thinking about your whole online presence, not just the website in isolation.
So the warning is that some web companies might build you a great site.
But completely forget about setting up and optimizing your social media profiles.
Yeah, which seems like a huge miss these days. Active social media is vital for so many businesses, isn't it?
Absolutely. Building a community, driving traffic back to the website, increasing visibility. It helps grow your customer base.
Yeah.
Ignoring it. Just a missed opportunity to connect where people are already spending time.
Okay, so looking at the big picture, that 8 tips article kind of wraps up by stressing the importance of finding a long-term partner.
Not just a project-based vendor who disappears once the site is live.
Exactly. They frame it as building a relationship based on trust, understanding your business goals.
You need confidence that they can deliver the whole package and that they actually get your business.
It's not just a one-off purchase. It should be an ongoing thing supporting your growth online.
And that ties back to the price thing, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, if you're looking for a partner who delivers real value and understands your business long-term, their pricing will probably reflect that commitment. It won't just be about being the absolute cheapest.
Right. Good connection. Okay, now let's shift to the white paper from UltraWeb Marketing. They talk about themselves as an agency versus, say, hiring a freelancer. What are the key differences they highlight?
Okay, so they position themselves as this comprehensive agency, providing a whole suite of services, basically.
Like web development, SEO, content, marketing.
Yeah.
All under one roof.
Yeah, exactly. And they argue that this unified approach brings consistency. Branding, messaging, quality. It's all managed together.
And how do they contrast that with freelancers?
Well, freelancers typically work alone, right? So the white paper highlights the benefit of agency team collaboration. You've got designers, developers, marketers, strategists, all pooling their expertise.
Versus one person trying to do it all.
Right. A freelancer just naturally has a more limited skill set and capacity.
And it's not just about the initial build, is it?
No, Ultra Marketing really emphasizes the long-term relationship, offering ongoing support, updates, making sure the site evolves with your business and, the digital world keeps changing.
Whereas a freelancer might be more project-focused and less available for that continuous support later on.
That's the potential downside they suggest, yeah.
Yeah.
Your site could become outdated.
Okay. The white paper also mentions different types of websites. Static versus e-commerce. Can you break those down quickly?
Sure. Status sites are basically informational, fixed content, good for businesses needing a simple online brochure, who we are, what we do, contact info.
Less interactive, simpler, probably cheaper upfront.
Generally, yeah. But limited in what they can do.
And e-commerce.
Those are built for selling stuff online. Products, services. You need shopping carts, secure payment systems.
Payment gateways, right.
Yep. Often inventory management, too. More complex to build, obviously.
But they're a direct platform for making money online.
Exactly. And this is where UltraWeb marketing really leans in, highlighting their own expertise in e-commerce, helping businesses drive sales.
They mention their own venture, Security Camera King, as an example, don't they?
They do. And the numbers are pretty persuasive. Over $20 million in revenue last year. And they cite, 30% average annual growth over the past 8 years. That kind of sustained success. Yeah. It speaks volumes.
So what did they do? What were the custom e-commerce solutions they talk about?
They put it down to a few key things. First, developing solutions truly tailored to that specific business.
Not just off-the-shelf stuff.
Right. Second, tightly integrating SEO and marketing right from the start to get visibility, drive the right traffic. And third, a really strong focus on user experience, making it super easy for customers to browse, find what they need, and actually buy it.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, both the white paper and the 8 Tips article give advice on questions to ask potential web firms. What are some of the big ones?
Well, reviewing their portfolio comes up again and again. That's crucial.
Looking at their past work, you want to see quality, obviously, but also range?
Yeah, does their work look good and function well? Load times, navigation? Is it easy to use?
And should you look for experience in your specific industry?
Definitely helps. And look at the variety. Can they handle different styles, different levels of complexity, or does it all look the same?
And it's not just the final product, but the process, right? Client testimonials.
Absolutely. See what past clients say? Were they happy? How was the communication? Did they get results?
Experience, too. How long have they been around? Do they know your industry?
Yeah, a proven track record gives you confidence. You're more likely to understand your specific challenges.
Communication feels key. Are they responsive? Do they actually listen and seem to understand what you're trying to achieve?
So important. A good partner asks good questions.
And you need to understand their process, don't you? Is it structured? Do they have clear steps for design, development?
Yeah, knowing their workflow gives you confidence they can manage the project, hit deadlines, stay on budget, hopefully.
And don't forget post-launch support. What happens after the site is live?
Good one. Maintenance, updates, tech help.
Yeah.
Websites need ongoing care.
And we keep coming back to SEO.
Right.
You have to ask detailed questions about their approach, right? How they integrate it from the start.
Non-negotiable. They should be thinking about traffic from day one.
And finally, customization. You don't just want a generic template.
No way.
Yeah.
Needs to reflect your unique brand and goals. Tailored solution.
Okay, looking at the UltraWeb marketing website itself, the web design SEO digital marketing section gives a bit of their backstory, established in 2007.
Yeah, and an interesting evolution. Started as a local security installer.
Really?
Yeah. Then into related security businesses, and eventually pivoted to become UltraWeb Marketing, the agency.
That real-world business background might actually give them a useful perspective.
Could do. They certainly state their mission clearly, helping businesses succeed via effective marketing. And they really push their Google marketing expertise, SEO, ads, content, keeping up with Google's rules.
And they mentioned they're based in Boca Raton, Florida, which might matter to some people wanting someone local.
Potentially, yeah.
Their site also shows off quite a few Google reviews, some specific feedback mentioned.
Yeah, I saw those. Clients praising attentiveness, the look of the site, top-notch service.
Someone mentioned helpfulness, patience, good communication.
Right. And others talked about professionalism with startups, tailored design for small businesses, even quick help with things like Google Workspace issues.
So it gives a feel for the client relationship side of things.
Definitely. It's not just about the website deliverable.
And looking beyond web design, their site lists a whole bunch of other services.
Yeah, it's pretty comprehensive. Local marketing, Google ads, Facebook ads.
CCO, content, social media management, E-commerce, again, video production, email marketing.
Even the CRM, link building, reputation management.
So it really reinforces that agency model they talk about in the white paper. They can do more than just build a site.
Exactly. They emphasize creating custom marketing packages. So if you need a broader strategy, not just a website, that could be a big plus.
Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the main takeaway message for someone trying to choose that web design company?
I think the core message is this is a really significant strategic investment for your business.
Yeah, not just a line item expense.
Right. And it demands careful thought that goes way beyond just how the website looks.
Absolutely. You've got to prioritize those critical things. SEO integrated from the start, mobile responsiveness being perfect.
The quality and relevance of the actual content, whether the company is set up for long-term support, and if they genuinely understand your business goals.
Just a lot to consider.
It is.
Yeah.
And maybe here's a final thought to mull over. Really think about what a truly strategic online presence could realistically do for your business.
What's the potential?
Exactly. And then ask yourself honestly, does just picking the cheapest option really align with those ambitions, with that potential?
Provocative. It encourages you to look beyond the price tag and think about the value and the fit. Good final thought. We hope revisiting the sources with these points in mind helps you make the right choice.